Alright, so the last part in this section is the graphing of unfamiliar functions. The reason why we do this is you're going to come across some crazy function that you're not going to know how to graph or solve. Alright, in this section I'm going to show you how you find the y-intercept, the x-intercepts, any turning points. Alright, I'll explain that when we get there. And the end behavior, basically the domain and the range. Alright, so let's start with y-intercept. So for this function, 2x cubed minus 17x squared plus 14x minus 30, and you're like, God damn, that's a long ass equation. Do not worry, the calculator does everything for you. However, for the y-intercept, we know that the y-intercept is some 0 in for the x and then some y, right? So since this is our x value, 0 is our x value, all we have to do is plug in 0 for all of them. So 2 times 0 to the third minus 17 times 0 to the second plus 42 times 0 minus 30, right? But anything to the 0 times 0, it's all gone, so all of this is gone. So f of 0 equals negative 30, which means that our y-intercept, where it crosses the y, is 0, negative 30. Alright? You can also do that on the calculator, find that on the calculator, graph it, trace 0, you can find that. Alright, actually, let me restate that. So once you plug this in, you have it in your graph. Alright, if you do this, if you graph it, and I don't know why it's not clicking, if you graph it, don't go to second trace 0 because that's going to give you the x-intercept, alright, which that's next, but go to trace and type in 0, and then you'll get our y-intercept negative 30. Alright, so keep that in mind. It's not second trace 0, it's just trace and then type in 0, and then that's how you get it. Alright, alright, so for the x-intercept, for the f of x of 2x cubed minus 17x squared plus 42x minus 30, that's a pretty complicated equation, so I want you guys to graph it. Just put it into y equals, then graph it. So here we want the x-intercept, that's where the graph crosses the x line. So in this case we have 1, 2, and 3. And what you guys could do is second trace, go to 0, and find out each one. So let's, alright, where's my cursor at? So find your cursor first. We want that first x-intercept. That x-intercept's right here where the pointer is. So anywhere to the left bound is to the left side on the line. Anywhere to the right bound is the right side on that line, right? Enter, enter. That's going to give you your first x-intercept. Alright, so let me write that down. And the first one is going to be negative 1.27 comma 0. If you do that for all three of them, 2.5 comma 0, and the last one is 4.73 comma 0. So again, second trace 0, you're going to go left bound, right bound, dot. Alright, guess, enter, and it's going to give you the x-intercepts. Alright. So number 3, turning points. Turning points are basically kind of like where the graph turns. So in this case, they're asking you for the min and the max. All right, where is the minimum? Where is the maximum? Where does it turn? That's what we're looking at. All right. So if we were to look at our graph, and let's go back to the calculator, the graph goes up, then turns, goes back down, then turns, and goes back up. Right. So the points that they want is the maximum point here and then the minimum point here. And how do we do that? The same thing, second trace, and we're going to go down to, let's find the maximum first, the far left one. So we're going to go to max. We know that's our high point or max point, right? So left bound of that would be on the left side of that. Right bound, you would have to go onto the other side and do that. Press enter, enter. Your maximum point or your turning point is this ugly number right there. Alright, so that's negative 1.8 and then comma 2.19. All right, so we're gonna go to the second one, and let me just, all right, we're gonna go to the second point. We're gonna find the minimum value. So second trace, now we're gonna go to the min, and so the left bound of this point would be on this side, right bound would be to the right of it over here. Press enter, enter, and this should be your maximum or your minimum point, sorry. 3.85, let's round it, and comma negative 6.15. All right, that's going to be your minimum value. So here's the thing, if you're using second trace and you did maximum and you were trying to do that for this point right here, it's not going to work. All right, it'll give you an error. Let's actually try it. Let's see what happens. So right now we're trying to find the max of this point, but this is really the minimum point. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's not going to give it to you. All right, so you have to pick and choose the correct one, minimum or maximum, to see which one it is. All right, so just take note of that. So for the end behavior, the last part, we need to find out, or we want to find out, what is actually going on with this, right? So like I said in the beginning, we want to find our domain. All right, and remember, domain goes from left to right, and we're always looking at our end behavior, as in the arrow at the end. All right, I know the screen is cut off on your calculator, it doesn't really go on, but this really goes all the way, and this keeps on continuous, it doesn't stop. So if it's going left, it's negative infinity to positive infinity if it's going right. However, for the range, it's going down and then up, right? So if it's going down, we know that it's going to negative infinity. If it's going up, it's going to positive infinity. So let's look at this. This arrow is going left slowly. It's still going left, but it is going left. And this is going right slowly, but it's still going right. So we know that if we have L and R, as in if we wrote down L and R, we know that the domain is going from negative infinity to positive infinity. Or they'll sometimes write all reals, right? The range, this arrow is going down, right? So we're going to put a D, and this arrow is going up, so I'm going to put a U. So we know that it's going down and it's going up, so we can put down negative infinity to positive infinity. All right, so that can also be the same thing as all reals. All right, so the domain is all reals going negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is all reals going negative infinity to positive infinity. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. If you have any questions, please let me know, because a lot of people get mixed up with the domain and range. So please try these problems when I give it to you and write down these notes. I'm sorry, we're not finished. I have one more thing I forgot. Write down this this right here, and I want you to be able to find the y-intercept, the x-intercept, the vertical asymptote, and then the horizontal asymptote for this function right here. All right, so we will go over that in class, but for now, please try to do this, watch the videos, and take notes again. All right, that's it.